Hello and welcome back to the 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. I'm Leah Crowley. Thank you for joining us. Coming up this week, we have important election information and more on Rhode Island's name change. Plus, it's the return of Rhode Sports Corner with women's frisbee. Stay tuned. Although Vice President Biden has won the election, there is still some uncertainty on how to move forward. Imani Fleming has more.
After nearly 4 days of counting ballots and tallying votes, election anticipation came to an end when former Vice President Joe Biden was announced as the winner of the 2020 presidential race. His running mate Kamala Harris will serve as the first Black, South Asian woman vice president in America's history. The Biden-Harris victory came after triumph in Pennsylvania, securing them the 270 electoral votes needed to win the White House.
Joseph R. Biden Jr. is elected the 46th president of the United States, winning the White House and denying President Trump a second term.
In a brief statement Friday night, Biden encouraged patience amongst his voters as tensions continue to rise in highly disputed swing states like Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona.
So, I ask everyone to stay calm. All the people to stay calm. The process is working. The count is being completed.
More than 147,000 votes in the state of Michigan and 34,000 votes in Pennsylvania pushed him over the edge to defeat President Trump. At the time the race was called, Biden held a razor-thin 7,000 vote lead in Georgia. Some voters were shocked as to how close the margins were between the two candidates earlier on in the race. However, Biden ultimately won the popular vote by 4 million votes. Political science professor Shauna Pearson-Markowitz tells us more.
He did win by over 4 million votes. 4 million is more than 11 of the states have in their as of their populations, right? And so while some of the polls predicted a bigger win in terms of the electoral college, he won by a very sizable chunk of the American public. So I think it's important actually to frame kind of the how big his win was. That 4 million votes is actually a very large number of voters, right? So bigger than 11 states, right?
For both parties, voter turnout this election cycle was historic. This is partially due to voters' increasingly strong association with their party identification.
But the vast majority is that we're becoming a more sordid country, so people are just clear in their party ID. I'm either a Republican or I'm a Democrat, and the ideological jump between the two parties is so great that you're not going to get these shifts, right? Where people are like, this election I'm a Democrat, this election I'm a Republican. I'm really responding to the person who's running. It's not. They're responding to the ideologies of the two parties.
Despite a rise in national COVID-19 cases, celebrations erupted across the country as many Americans rejoiced at the imminent departure of Trump from the White House. President Trump and his administration have promised to challenge the election outcome over voter fraud. However, many experts say there's little substance to his claims of illegal misconduct.
Trump would have to have the military behind him to have a not peaceful transfer of power in terms of the White House and how that goes, and he doesn't have it, right? He's had this issue throughout his presidency that he doesn't have the support of the Pentagon and the military. And, so I think the bigger issue is going to be what I expect from Trump is scorched earth, right? That he's going to do as much as he can to dismantle Washington.
Aside from the victory in the White House, Democrats continue to hold the majority in the House of Representatives, while Republicans in the Senate have a 2-seat advantage. In his victory speech Saturday night, Biden urged the country to give his administration a chance and for all Americans to see and listen to each other once again.
Our work is hard for those who didn't vote for me, as those who did. Let this grim era of demonization in America begin to end here and now.
Over the summer, we covered the debate to rename the Ocean State. In this election, Rhode Islanders voted on this issue. At the start of 2020, Rhode Island's official name was Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, a name that some people like Sal Montero of the Peace and Nonviolence Institute found hurtful.
We didn't bring Black people over here from Africa to work in banks or to work in the hospital. We brought them over here to work on plantations. So that in itself hurts. When the George Floyd incident happened, when that police officer with his knee on this man's neck in broad daylight, that is plantation type system. That is what happened to runaway slaves. That is what happened to free slaves. Here's somebody that practices nonviolence, tries to, but I was angry. I was upset. And it was June 8th, and I remember just saying, I have to do something. I want to change something.
With the help of others, Montero created a Facebook page called Remove Plantations from RI to spread awareness on an upcoming ballot question to remove the word plantations from Rhode Island's name.
The one thing that we did know is that we was going to do the best we can with what we had. There was no money involved. It was just a belief of wanting to get this happen. We did a lot. We got signs. We had people doing projections all across the city. Again, conversations. We did podcasts, interviews.
Despite their efforts, Montero and other members were not confident the name would change, as Rhode Islanders overwhelmingly voted against changing the name in 2010.
And then you start giving yourself the, right, so this is what we're going to do next time speech.
However, in this election, Rhode Islanders voted for the Ocean State's name to officially change. Governor Gina Raimondo signed an executive order earlier this year that removed the Providence Plantations portion of Rhode Island's name from all communications coming from the governor's office. Now that voters have chosen to officially change Rhode Island's name and remove plantations, the state is going to have to assess their properties and make changes accordingly. In the past, you might have caught a glimpse of the state's true name on URI's diplomas.
So even with the ones I have, the diplomas with the plantations on it, I'm not going to rip them up. I'm not going to throw them away. Now this is how much they mean to me now, is the fact that I was part of something that removed that.
Now, URI's diplomas look a little different.
We did remove the Providence Plantations from the diplomas for the graduating class of 2020. We weren't necessarily required to follow the governor's executive order, but given what has been happening in society right now, and given the importance of this issue, we did hear from students, we've heard from faculty and staff. We felt it was the right direction to go in and the right decision to make.
Kelly Mahoney said the university largely did not use the state's official name.
We'll certainly go through a more rigorous review of, does this actually show up on places on campus? Is it included in forms that we have? Even our seal for the University of Rhode Island didn't include the full name of the state. Thank goodness. We want to welcome people into that type of environment.
Although the name may be changing, Montero believes more work needs to be done.
And it's great. It's great that it happened, but you also have to remember you're still going to wake up tomorrow and we're still going to be in poor schools. There's still going to be injustices. So a lot of things aren't going to change just yet. But this is a symbol of what can come and what can happen. And, as Martin Luther King says, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And this is an example of what that looks like.
And now over to Aniekan Okon with your Rhody Sports Corner.
To some, Frisbee is a casual sport that you play in the park on a nice day. But for the women's ultimate Frisbee team, especially now, it's Disky Business. Over the course of the summer, with the help of Campus Rhett, the team put in place protocols to help fight against the spread of COVID-19.
You have to wear masks at all times unless we're 14 feet apart, then you can take them off. At water breaks, we have everybody spread out to drink their water so they can take their masks off. We try to keep 6 feet of distance between everybody, and then at the beginning of the semester we had smaller groups of 5, but now...
The changes have been hard for many on the team who consider the team a close-knit family.
We're very close to each other, and we've always been like that. We're not afraid to be ourselves, so it's been weird not being like, oh my gosh, hi, and just immediately hugging each other. We just de-stress, we get each other laughing, we get each other going, we hype each other up so much. The energy from this team is just so good, and I feel like that's rare to find, and I just love it.
Yeah, I think the girls are the best part. We work really well together. It's like Caroline said, it's great to come to practice, take a break from homework, and just have fun.
The girls even have some fun with their team nickname.
So it's actually a pun from the movie Disky Business with Tom Cruise.
It's been established for us for like a bunch of years, so it was before I even joined the team.
It was even the name when their coach Amy Goldblatt played on the team just over a decade ago. She enjoys being able to come back and coach this team.
It means the world to me to be able to come back to the fields that I grew up on, going to college here at URI.
COVID has also affected how the team recruits players.
Not having Welcome Day was tough because that is one of the biggest nights where we recruit, as well as like breakfast.
Despite this, Goldblatt is impressed with how many new players the team has recruited.
This semester, I am pleasantly surprised with how many new rookies we have on this team, despite the pandemic. We have an awesome Instagram account that we've done recruiting through our Instagram account and just notices around.
But considering all the challenges the pandemic has brought for the team, they appreciate still having the chance to practice with each other.
I think we're making the most of it. Practice it is a little bit different, but because the group sizes are increasing, we are able to do a little bit more each week. And honestly, it's an adjustment, but I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with how things are going.
Yeah, it's worth it because I think we all just want to practice so bad, like wearing a mask doesn't really matter.
And Goldblatt believes that this family environment has and will continue to get this team through these difficult times.
The bonds that Ultimate creates in general, but even more closely like this team of Disky Business, the friendships that form and the relationships that form will get you through anything. So it's more than just a sport we play 3 days a week. It is a friendship beyond anything.
With the fall semester winding down, the team hopes it'll be able to get back to its normal routine of playing tournaments in the spring. Reporting from Meade Stadium, I'm Aniekan Okon, 5 Cent Cigar Sports.
According to URI's COVID-19 tracker, for the week of November 2nd through November 8th, there have been 49 positive cases with a positive test rate of less than 1%. That's all we have for you today at the 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. Stay safe, Rhode.